Welcome to the Lose Weight, Live Life podcast. If you're a female professional or entrepreneur who would do anything to lose weight, yet finds it impossible to stick to a diet, to eat less, or just what you think you should, this podcast is for you. I am your host, certified life and weight coach, Clair MACKENZIE. Listen in to learn how to stop overeating, lose weight for the last time, and create a relationship with food and yourself that you love, all without diet deprivation and self-sabotage. Hi everyone, and a very warm welcome to episode number 33, When Losing Weight is Difficult. Well, the weeks are flying by now, and yet at the same time it feels as though it's taking forever to get to those dates where we can start getting back to living more like it was pre-COVID-19. But right now, the sun is shining and everything is good. I'm enjoying tentatively putting holiday plans and social events in the diary. We've booked up to go to a few local live outdoor music events over the summer, so I'm just keeping everything crossed that those events can be held safely and that we get to relax and chill out. We're also starting to put dates in the diary to see friends outdoors, weather permitting, and we know finally what form the A-level assessments will be taking place in. And so my son will really be done with school, or at least his formal lessons anyway, and exams by the end of May. So I'm keeping everything crossed for him as well, that he will be able to have a summer of fun and celebration that is a rite of passage of those late teen years. By the way, if you're not in the Lose Weight, Live Life Facebook group yet, come join us at facebook.com/groups/Lose Weight, Live Life, and let me know what you're looking forward to this summer. So before I talk about when losing weight is difficult, I want to tell you a little bit about what's happening with My One Life Academy. For those of you who don't know, My One Life Academy, or I sometimes call it MOLA for short, is my monthly membership coaching program where I teach you everything you need to know about changing your relationship with food and yourself and your life so that you can lose weight permanently. I launched My One Life Academy almost 12 months ago, and I've had the privilege of helping hundreds of you create a better relationship with food and lose weight. And I've learned so much about the best way to teach you everything I know and coach you through your own weight loss and eating belief systems that have a habit of keeping you stuck. And so I'm creating My One Life Academy version 2, not that I'm going to call it that, but you know what I mean. And anyhow, I'm going to tell you about it in another episode, but for now I want to let those of you who have maybe been on the fence about joining My One Life Academy know that now is absolutely the best time to do just that, because right now we have a year's worth of amazing content in the program, and if you join now, you will get access to all of that, and you will also have access when we launch the new version next month. If you wait until the new membership is launched in April, you're going to be getting the brand new experience, but you won't be getting everything that's taken place over the last 12 months. So I'm not going to be offering the archived year of content to everybody who signs up in the new membership because I don't want to confuse people. So if you want to have the best of both worlds, now is the time to join. And you can do that by going to www.thebestyou.coach/MOLA web. And it's just £34 per month and there's no tie-in, so you can cancel at any time. Okay, right, let's get on with the show. So today we're talking about when losing weight is difficult. Losing weight being difficult is a problem that I reflect on a lot. You see, I want to say to people that when you figure out the right way for you to eat so that you can change your relationship with food and lose weight permanently, it's so much easier than going on a prescriptive diet. And I believe that is absolutely 100% true. And yet, I still see some of the ladies that I work with have all the feels about weight loss being difficult, and I can totally see that that's their truth, and I can see how difficult it is for them. And so I've decided that we should expect, and more importantly, want weight loss to be both easy and difficult, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. And in addition to talking about what's difficult about losing weight, I also want to talk about what's difficult about not losing weight. And I want to explore exactly how difficult weight loss is and how easy it is and why it sometimes feels easy and other times difficult. As I said, I've been mulling over the idea of whether the weight loss journey is something that feels easy or difficult for some time, because I work with ladies who tell me how easy it is and ladies who tell me it's so difficult. So let's start with thinking what makes it easy and what makes it difficult. If you've been listening to me for a while, you're going to know that how easy or how difficult something feels is determined by our thinking. When we think thoughts about losing weight that create positive feelings, it feels easy. And when we think thoughts about losing weight that create negative feelings, it's going to feel a whole load more difficult. So the quality of your thinking will determine the experience, your experience of your weight loss journey. And yet most of you will be familiar with thinking that what makes it hard or difficult are the circumstances in which you'll find yourself at a particular point in time. And yes, there is a correlation between circumstances that many of us come up against on our weight loss journey and the prevalence of thoughts that lead to positive feelings and it being easy, and thoughts that lead to more negative feelings and hence it feeling more difficult. By the way, it's also useful to define what it is in these scenarios. When you say it feels so difficult to lose weight, what exactly is the it that you're referring to? Okay, it's really important to define this and break it down. Now, I'm guessing you're thinking it refers to all the things that you practically do, such as maybe creating your food framework, planning your meals, shopping for your food, figuring out what's going on for you when you don't want to eat what you planned, giving yourself the ability to feel the desire to foods without responding to those feelings and eating, as well as maybe journaling. And also it, when you say it feels so difficult, it's referring to your thoughts you're having about doing all of these things and all the thoughts you're having about what you would prefer to be doing instead. And that might look like eating foods to treat yourself because you're bored, eating foods at the weekends because you want to relax, and just essentially not thinking about how you're eating. Oftentimes we want to sort of go unconscious and not have to focus and think about it because we tell ourselves that it's taking up all of our energy. And of course, whilst we're focusing on all of this, when we're focusing on what's hard or difficult and what we don't want to be doing about losing weight, we're forgetting about what's hard or difficult about not doing what we're doing to lose weight. So often our motivation for losing weight is because being overweight in itself feels so hard, so difficult. And if that's what's been motivating you, then that motivation will lessen as you lose your weight. And then doing all the things and thinking all the things and feeling all the things that will enable you to lose weight is suddenly going to feel a lot harder. It can be similar for weight loss plateaus. When you reach a weight loss plateau after consistently losing weight for maybe some months, all of a sudden you stop getting that dopamine hit from seeing the number on the scale go down. And this can contribute to everything feeling more difficult as well. You see, your brain totally forgets that not continuing will take you back to the version of yourself a few months previously. But of course, not going back, going forward, so you perhaps have different negative thoughts about it. So this is what we often see, isn't it, with sort of dieting, is where we are on a diet and then we come off a diet and then we regain our weight and then we have all those negative thoughts and we're so critical of ourselves because we've regained our weight, and we always, I think normally anyway, end up regaining more weight and starting off heavier than when we started. So when you have been on a journey of losing weight successfully and then it starts to feel hard, your brain's totally forgotten about everything that was going on that was your motivation to lose weight in the first place. So how do we fix all of this? So firstly, better quality thinking is one way. And a second way is allowing the discomfort of it being hard. So let's talk a bit more about both of those, because I really suggest you want to practice building up the skill of both strategies. You want to both allow the feelings, practice the skill of allowing the feelings of it being hard and being difficult. And you also want to level up your abilities to reframe your thinking so that it doesn't feel so hard and difficult. So one of the greatest skills you can give yourself in life is to allow yourself to feel emotional discomfort and do it anyway. It's a bit like that title of the book, isn't it? Feel the fear and do it anyway. And it's just the same when it comes to losing weight. Okay, when there are periods of time where it feels more difficult, if you can feel the difficulty, the difficultness of that, whatever the right word is, and do it anyway, it's really empowering. Remember that half of your life will be spent feeling negative emotion. Okay, life is 50-50. Life isn't about humans being happy, feeling positive all the time. The more comfortable you get feeling negative emotion, the better you will feel about the more negative parts of your life. So let's talk a little more about changing your thinking. Because of course, notice your thoughts and feelings about your thoughts and feelings. That's unique to us humans. When it feels difficult and you think that it shouldn't, you will suffer more than if it feels difficult and you accept that and carry on anyway. When you accept that parts of your weight loss journey may feel more difficult than others, and you don't think that something's going to go wrong or something's gone wrong, it's going to feel much easier. What I notice is that many times the ladies I work with find that everything feels easy, they lose weight really well for maybe a few months, and then a circumstance comes along that changes things, and then suddenly it feels difficult. And they think something's gone wrong, and they're really focused on wanting to get back to what was working before. But as I said earlier, you can't go back. You can only ever go forward. And what I want to encourage you and them to see is that you want to move forward because you're going to be getting to the next step, the next place on your journey. You can use this period of it feeling hard and feeling difficult as an opportunity because, of course, life circumstances are going to change all of the time. And even if you lose your weight without having a challenging situation come up, and you then are on a maintenance program, you're still going to need to learn how to deal with a challenging life situation whilst you're maintaining your weight. And that may feel more difficult than when you're not dealing with a challenging life situation. Okay. When these life challenges come up, it can be useful to ask ourselves, how is this for me? And sometimes it can feel really difficult to do that. But it's really useful to consider, how is this for me? How is this feeling hard and difficult on my weight loss journey right now? How is this going to help me? How is this going to enable me to develop new skills, to embrace new tools that are going to help me manage my relationship with food for life? Ask yourself, what's the opportunity here? What am I learning now? How is this going to help me in the future? It's also really useful to ask yourself what you want. So often we focus so much on what we don't want, we don't stop to consider what we actually truly really do want. It's possible that when it feels hard in the moment, your brain is telling you that you want to eat all the things, the crisps or biscuits or chocolate or ice cream. But is that true? Stop and ask yourself, do I really want to eat all those things? Why? Why do I want to? And why don't I want to? Do you really want to get off this weight loss journey that you're on? Watch and see those thoughts that make it hard. Which ones do you want to keep? Which ones on examination appear to be lies that you want to let go of? When you can see the thoughts that make it feel hard, you can use them as a cue to remind yourself what you want to think and feel instead. So, for example, thoughts that make weight loss feel hard may be thoughts like, I should be able to have what I want. Whenever you notice yourself thinking a generic sweeping thought like this, then I suggest you really examine it. So in this case, when you're thinking, I should be able to have what I want, you might ask yourself, is it true that you can't have what you want? Now, your answer to this question might look like, no, I can have the ice cream, but I can't have the ice cream and lose weight, and that's what I want. You might then continue that line of exploratory examination by being curious and asking yourself, how much do you want the ice cream and how much do you want the weight loss? What would having each of those things give you? At this point, your brain's probably fed up of all the probing and has probably lost the anticipatory positive feelings of having the ice cream. So just by taking a few moments out and journaling on this and really delving into it might actually be enough to help the moment to pass so that you decide that you don't want the ice cream and carry on without feeling deprived. But seriously, truly ask yourself what you want. If you want to figure out a way for you to eat some ice cream occasionally and lose weight, then of course you absolutely can have both of those things. They don't need to contradict one another. You can have what you want. You just want to be prepared to put the effort in to determining how you can create that for yourself and make it work. Now, if you're having this debate about chocolates, biscuits and crisps too, of course there comes a point where you can see that you can't manage your way out of conflicting desires and that you ultimately do need to choose. The important thing to remember here is that it is a choice and it is your choice. You get to decide how you want to be eating. Now, other thoughts that make weight loss feel hard are thoughts like it's not fair. Why can't I eat like them or eat like a normal person? And whenever we think it's not fair, we've slipped into victim mentality. And victim mentality can be a problem because we don't take ownership of our challenges. We don't own them and we don't set about problem solving and finding solutions for them. Okay. So other thoughts that come along is just thoughts, simple thoughts. This is just too hard. When weight loss is feeling difficult, trust that if you allow the difficultiness to be there, if you just push on through, that the tide will turn. I often talk about the river of misery, and the river, of course, is moving when you're in it. The current is still flowing and it is carrying you somewhere. So just trust that it's going to take you to the island in the middle of the river, or eventually it will get you to the other side, to that landing on the other bank of the river on the other side. So next I want to talk about when weight loss feels difficult after a period of it feeling easy. And as I said, I see this happening all of the time. Many of the ladies in my One Life Academy and in the Lose Weight Live Life Mastermind, which is a small group coaching program, have the experience of finding things working well for them for the first few months or even longer, and then something happens and it starts to feel more difficult. Now, as I said, that's something that happens, could be a significant life event. It could be the death of a loved one, it could be losing a job, and it could also be caused by something like the slowing down of the decreasing numbers on the scale. So whereas maybe for the first few months they were losing a couple of pounds a week, they find that as they get closer to their goal, the progress slows and maybe they're losing something like £0.5 pound a week. And this is the only thing that's changed, but their brain tells them that now the weight loss is too difficult. And what the brain is doing is deciding that the effort required to eat how they've been eating and do everything else that they've been doing is worthy of a £2 a week weight loss, but not worthy of a £0.5 pound a week weight loss. And actually, this has come up quite a lot recently. What else is happening in many of these cases is that their motivation has dwindled because the discomfort they were experiencing before embarking on their weight loss journey has lessened, often substantially. So there's quite a lot happening here. Even though it may seem to the individual that nothing's changed and they start to feel hugely frustrated with themselves, which of course in turn makes weight loss even more difficult, there quite a lot has changed. There's quite a lot that's going on. So if you start to notice that the weight loss feels harder when you're not liking how the numbers on the scales are changing, either they're changing slowly or not changing at all, then you were probably using the motivation of the anticipated and actual dopamine hit that you used to get from seeing the satisfaction of the number on the scales decreasing. And now that your brain is not getting that, it's telling you that everything is more difficult now. So the actual difficulty hasn't changed. You're not asking yourself to do anything different or anything more difficult. You're just asking yourself to do it without the reward of the dopamine that your brain has been used to getting. And that's why it feels more difficult. That's why, whilst we want to keep an eye on what's happening to the numbers on the scale, I ask everyone I work with to track other results too. Very often these results are about how they feel in their body, their energy levels, maybe their strength and stamina. Often people see improved sleep patterns, decreased pain from arthritis, decreased digestive problems, so many things. And this feeds directly into the second thing that very often is happening when weight loss starts to feel more difficult. And that is the discomfort that you felt, whether that is physical or emotional, of the weight that you were when you started. And of course, that has diminished. And along with it, the need or the urgency, the motivation or the desire to carry on your weight loss journey. This is like what happens if you're someone that completes a piece of work at the last minute. If you need the discomfort of not meeting the deadline to motivate you, instead of doing the work ahead of when it needs to be done, then you're used to using discomfort to motivate yourself. And this is very much like me, by the way. So if you can relate to this, if you can relate to using the discomfort of the idea of missing that work deadline to motivate you to get work done, then it's possible you've used the discomfort of being overweight and how that felt physically and emotionally to motivate yourself to move forward on your weight loss journey. So if you can relate to this, what is the answer? How do you move forward? Well, there are a few concepts that you can explore. The first is accepting that sometimes your weight loss journey will be more difficult than it is at other times. And when you accept that this is exactly how it's supposed to be and that nothing has gone wrong, you might not suffer so much when it doesn't feel easy by default. it's not going to feel so difficult. Number 2, you can really focus on the value you will get of figuring out the right way for you to be eating without the numbers decreasing and without the discomfort of being overweight, because this is exactly what you're going to be doing to ensure your weight loss is permanent. Figuring out how to keep going and making it feel easier without those sort of, let's call them external pacifiers, is going to be vital and crucial in helping you for the long term. So turn this idea of it feeling hard on its head and lean into this new phase of your journey that you're entering. If you're learning how to make your weight loss journey the luxury cruise that it can be, check out one of my earlier episodes for that if you haven't already, then you might want to see this as a part of it. Maybe this is the very long coach ride to a specific attraction that you've been really looking forward to. Because yes, even on a luxury cruise, there are going to be some parts of the journey that need to be endured a little, that aren't the parts that you enjoy the most. Number 3, something else that you can do is to proactively ask yourself, how can I make this easier, or how can I make this more fun? Instead of focusing on the problem of what's difficult about it right now, focus on the solution instead. Another concept you might want to consider is that this weight loss journey that you're on is the equivalent of you studying for a degree in creating the relationship with food, yourself, and your life that will lead you to permanent weight loss. And you're studying for this degree at a prestigious university, something like an Oxford or a Cambridge. Okay, so if you were studying at a top tier university, would you expect it to be easy? Would it be a problem if it was difficult? And I want to say no, of course it wouldn't. You would be embracing the opportunity and appreciating yourself for rising to the challenge, of having committed to taking on this challenge in your life. So can you explore that as an option here? Can you really think about the amazing work that you're doing in changing your relationship with food for life? So I encourage you to be ready for embracing the full experience of your weight loss journey. When it feels easy, let it be easy. And when it feels more difficult, know that you're making the exact progress that you want to be making, and that on the other side of it being more difficult is, of course, progress. And as I say that, I'm reminded of some video games where they have different levels. As a child, I had a sort of a handheld, I think it was Donkey Kong, and I know that my son played on a Nintendo DS. And of course, when you're on one of those video games, you start off and you've got the early levels, and they may feel difficult to start off with, but the more you focus on them, when you find out how to solve them, you can then repeat that solution over and over again, and then you get to move on to the next levels. Okay. So, and oftentimes when we get to the new level, it feels totally impossible until suddenly it isn't. And that might be what your weight loss journey is going to feel like. It may feel as though keeping going is impossible at times. Now, I guess the difference between the video game and you on your weight loss journey is that in the video game, you believe, you trust, you know there's a solution to finishing that level of the video game. Even though you may have spent days, I can remember one particular game that my son played. This is probably going back about 8 years now. I think it was a Pokemon game, and the name sticks in my head. It was Shadows of Almia. And I think it nearly broke my entire family because he was so frustrated at not being able to complete a certain level. I think my husband was trying the game. Everything was going on. Anyway, so even though this seemed impossible at the time and was intensely difficult, never for one moment did we think that there wasn't a solution. We just believed that there was. So we knew that we had to keep persisting, keep going with it, no matter what. I think what comes up difficult with the weight loss journey sometimes is that we don't have that belief in ourselves that if we persist and if we keep going, we're going to break through this period of what is difficult, this period of sort of hardship, and get to the equivalent of what feels like the next level. Okay, so what I'm suggesting is that you see that nothing has gone wrong when part of your weight loss journey suddenly feels more difficult. You've just leveled up to the next part of your journey, and you're playing the game and practicing all the skills of being on that level, that part of your journey, until suddenly you meet the equivalent of whatever it might be in the game, securing the key, and feel the relief of having moved through it and onto your next leg of the journey. And ask yourself, what is the alternative? Although your brain would like to have you believe that the alternative is feeling great, as you currently are, it's probably lying to you, because the alternative is going to be going back, or potentially to overeating, and taking yourself back to how you were feeling before you started on your weight loss journey in the first place. So that's what I have for you today. I really didn't know that I was going to be talking about Pokemon of all things. So as I mentioned earlier, if you've not already in the Lose Weight, Live Life Facebook group, do please come hang out with us in there at www.facebook.com/groups/Lose Weight, Live Life. And if you've been thinking of joining my One Life Academy, then I would really love to see you in the academy, in the membership. I would love to have you join the coaching calls. And as I said, you're going to, if you join now, get the best, absolute best of both worlds, because you're going to get everything that has taken place inside of my One Life Academy over the past 12 months. And also you will be in the membership for when we get the all new, all singing, all dancing second version of my One Life Academy next month as well. Okay, great. Thank you for joining today. Have an amazing week or weekend, depending on when you're listening to this, and take care. Thank you. If you enjoyed listening to this podcast and are ready to live a more intentional life, lose weight as a part of that journey, and create a relationship with food and yourself that you love, then I would be honoured to be your coach. There are 2 ways that you can work with me. You can join my monthly membership program, My One Life Academy, that gives you self-paced learning, supported by twice-weekly live calls and a whole lot more. Or you can join the waiting list for my next 6-month Lose Weight, Live Life Group Coaching Mastermind Intensive. Go to www.thebestyou.coach/coaching to find out all the details.